start recording. Okie dokie. Where we left off, we had just fixed up some bugs and then sort of drawn all these blue backgrounds around the items, and then we were going to work on mouse selection. Also, I feel like we should probably take a look at frame rate. That seems a bit slow. I know why. It's probably because if I close OBS, yeah, okay, that's a bit better. So that's fine. So we need to, first of all, I mean, what would you say is the first step to making a fully mouse controllable interface here? Like, how would you approach this?
Well, I guess, I think the next thing would just be to change the background color of the item we're hovered over.
Okay.
That gives us a hit test, and then we probably need some state for the, maybe we need state that's different than the current index. We probably need the hovered index of the item that we're over, because we probably want to click and have it, assume that we were there the whole time, kind of thing. But so I guess we need a hover color, state, the hit test, and a new index for where we are, where our mouse is, and then we can just do like an input capture for left mouse button down and check the hover index, which might be like -1 if it's not covered, and then if it has a value, then we'd want to short circuit the UI system. I don't think that's going to be network safe, but
well, that's
we'd want to do something in the tick, or maybe we do like a pending selection tick and then check that bit of state, and then kind of do the right thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we're going to do another networking step somewhere in the future.
Yeah. So we're going to ignore the network for now, just because the structure works better that way. And I mean, like, we want, for example, just to know what we're hovering over. So let's start where you said. Let's start with figuring out what we're actually hovered over and highlighting it.
Okay. So where are we drawing that again? Oh, that's in like label, I think, when we're doing the draw. Yeah. Okay. So the color comes from there, and the current index is there. So we don't necessarily need to capture the hover index right now. Well, yeah, we do. Why not? So maybe we change. Right, this is all very functional, so I have to think about it a little more.
Well, it's also worth thinking about the fact that we want draw to not modify anything, because I know I said like we're going to worry about network stuff later, but we do know that we want to be in sort of a position to be networked and to do all the nice things that we like to do, like pause the simulation but keep drawing it. And so
right. So we only want draw to read data, never to write it.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I mean, so that's another reason why we would want to proceed directly to the not current index. I guess I was misspeaking. I meant whatever we're using to track the I guess the focus index. That's the one that's in the game state.
What is focus index?
So,
focus index 0. Find all references. Oh yes, so that's right. Oh, okay, yeah. So we've got the list of items by value, and then we just index into this items table. And the reason we did this, if you recall, is so that we are only scrolling the selection between things that are actually items, not labels.
Right. Yeah. Because they're independent now, because you can have the same item with two different labels.
Well, you can use labels as like headings and stuff, or blank lines.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of a different thing. Like if you wanted to have two labels, but they both point to the same item. Like if you screwed something up and you have
Oh
two
yeah, yeah,
Bobs and they're
yeah,
both highlighted. Technically speaking,
yeah.
you could do that with this. Um, right. Okay. So I guess I'll just add a hover index. I don't know why that everything is crazy with the formatting. I guess the
Um,
tabulations. Oh yeah, I remember. Remember when my thing went haywire? I think I just have to do something like that. Get it back. Yeah, there we go. All right, so hover index.
mhm.
Then I guess we're gonna need I guess this is our. Is
Mm.
this where we do that?
Yep.
Wait a minute.
So once we know what
Okay.
all the items are, we can then consider input on them.
Right, right. That makes sense because we can mutate this list before we get to the end because of clicks and hides and whatever. Okay, yeah. All right, so now we're here. I guess, yeah, this is the actual key input. So now we need to consider the hover input. So maybe I'll do it up here, like in its own little area, and then we'll call this like, well, okay. So to do the hit test, I need a box. I think the code for the draw box was down here somewhere. Oh no, we just used the size for the font, and we used the position. Sorry,
Yeah, that's all right.
all over the place here. Current index, right? Okay, so we'll need a different. That's a draw concept, but I might just steal that. So over an end. Yeah, we don't have that in update the like where we are because we're at the end, so we just now we have a list of items. So maybe I have to traverse the list of items and then do a hit test on all of them, which seems kind of inefficient. Hmm. Well,
Well, what we have is a bit of a code, I guess, duplication problem, and that is
yeah, we have
we're
the current
doing
index and we need it in both systems.
we need the layout to happen both during draw and during update, and we need the layout result to be the same.
I guess we have to hoist the layout into UI system maybe, or
So that's probably where we're wanting to go with this, as far as layout is concerned.
okay.
So you can see it's a little bit of a design challenge to do that. One thing we could do is we could just um, take it as um, basically the case that what am I? Sorry, uh, I just blanked just now. Oh yeah, we could do it in such a way that where there's only two systems. There's the update system and the draw system. So we could just copy paste code and see where that takes us. And then once we've written it all out, then consolidate it up to something more elegant.
That seems pragmatic. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a fairly pragmatic way of doing this. And so unless you have like in your head a like really solid design of how it would go,
No.
that's usually a good way to come up with a design because it sort of tells you what you need. And so it's just you have to be prepared to do it once and then go back, and then once you've done it, go back and do it again effectively. Like not so much do it again, but do a cleanup step.
Yeah, that was kind of my jam on River City, right? I mean, I don't know how many times I clean things up, so yeah,
Hmm.
that doesn't seem like a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And also doesn't look too challenging. Like we're gonna basically, we're incrementing it whenever we hit one of the famous label calls, and we're zeroing it out at the begin call, so it's not crazy.
So this is one of the niceties also of the ImGUI system, the like Deering GUI way of doing things,
Hmm.
which is that it builds the draw buffer during the update call.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, I'm just trying to think if we can actually do it. I don't think we can really do that, just because of the way we
Maybe
want to
like,
handle the network. Because I think we made that decision before, and I can't think of any way
yeah,
around that. Like we have to do
we
that and that.
well, you don't want to replicate the. I guess you were saying like we can't like have like a list of instructions that the draw method would take to build the buffers, or it does it on the fly. So it's always keeping like I don't know.
Well,
I don't know it well enough
so if you recall, the concept was um, we could end up in a situation where we need to draw the menu, but we've never updated it because it's come down off the network, or it's
right.
like rolled back on the network, and so this has never been called. The state of the menu comes from some network thing rather than having been updated. So there's no opportunity to have built a buffer successfully unless you wanted to replicate the buffer with the network, but that's probably.
Then you get kind of like a black screen while there's
Well,
problems,
no,
right?
like you could include the buffer in the network state, um,
No.
but then you've got like potentially hundreds of kilobytes of um, graphics stuff sitting in your network state, which is far less than ideal.
Yeah, and it also seems like the wrong. Yeah, it seems like to me now it seems like the wrongest place to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
So
I don't know. I don't know. Like right now, I put the index here and I zeroed it out in begin, and then label doesn't do anything.
okay,
I'm not
let's.
sure if that's. I don't know if that's great because I don't think item calls label, but I could be wrong. Yeah, item doesn't even call label, so that's sort of a crap situation.
Well,
I know that the usage code does, so I just can't. I don't need to refresh whether that's good enough because that's not going to be good enough because that's not like item is also like I need it to increment in the item as well and everywhere else. So
well, let me put a potential thing to you here. I'm just going to delete this real quick. So let's look at this drawing for label. In fact, let's look at drawing for everything. In fact, if we look at the way UI draw works, is everything comes through label. And I think that's what you were saying just now. Actually, draw item, yeah. So
everything, yeah. I think we took advantage of that last time.
so it either goes through label or it goes through draw item through label. And what we don't really want any of this stuff. We might want the text formatting from the drawing. And yeah, okay. So basically everything that drawing does is something that update's going to need to do, except for drawString and draw, in so much as we draw the background. So the thought is another way to do this, which might be a little less painful, is move all of the drawing stuff into somewhere shared. Now, there's two ways we could do that. We could do it the object-oriented-y kind of way.
I feel like that's the one you want to do.
Maybe. Which would be, these are virtual methods. So like you just call the base method and get something back. And I don't think that's actually going to work because this returns an integer. So now what we really want is text formatting. So I'm thinking like just considering slider on its own, one thing we could do is we could come up to UI system. We've got all these helper methods in here already. We've got all this hashing magic. Let's
Oh, sure.
and now what we might want to do is So we might want to have like layout slider. So then that layout slider could get called by both update and draw, and would provide us the string that we then need to measure through draw item through draw item or label. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I think that's probably where we want to go with that, because so this code here needs to get reused.
Yeah,
and then
that makes sense.
We're looking at a situation a little bit where we have this sort of issue where we have string text, string builder text, and we're kind of running into like the annoying circumstance where every single thing that we write within this API, like at the outside layer, the public API for this has to look like this, but the private and protected stuff, we may want to consolidate this down so we just reduce the amount of code duplication.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking now might be the time
to build our own string builder.
Well, not so much build our own string builder, but to consolidate that in some way such that we're not constantly running into that. Because otherwise we need like two copies of every single method we write within our own code. And I think that's too much.
Right. I mean, I think string builder lets you use the direct, like it gives you access. Does it give you access to the underlying buffer? Or no?
No, because string builder is, I believe it's implemented as a rope. I think it's called a rope. Anyway, it's a list of buffers, more or less. So there is no single buffer you can get.
Okay.
So the other way we could do this is we could do this in two ways. I mean, I think looking at the design challenge we're faced with, and how much code we'll have to write otherwise, I think it's time to consolidate string and StringBuilder in some way. And there's two ways we can do that. One of those ways is we could just say we use StringBuilder everywhere, and whenever we get a string, we just copy it into a working buffer.
Right.
That's an option. The other option, and this results in less copying, is to make basically a union. So bar struct MultiString, and then it's we can't actually make a union, but we can just say be like object text, and then have the correct casting happening. We could this adds like a check every time you go to use it. Is it a string or is it a string builder? But then we implement basically forget how to even do this. This thing.
Indexer.
Yeah, an indexing thing. I can never remember the syntax.
Are we inviting boxing garbage here?
I will be inviting what, sorry?
Garbage from boxing?
No.
Because we have to, we don't have to, with the object text?
Yeah, so string and string builder are both classes.
Oh, right.
So if it was an integer,
yes. String, you're right. String's a class, but it's immutable, but it keeps screwing me up as its own special type.
The other way we could do it is do that, and that just changes where the if statement goes. Like, and I don't know. It's probably a performance thing you could measure, but I think memory is probably the better way to think about it. So probably this, probably, and then we can if this becomes a bottleneck somehow, which I severely doubt, we can always come back and fix it.
This is kind of like what am I trying to say? Almost like a non-interface interface.
A non-interface.
Yeah. It's not an interface because that would be worse for sure. To try to go with the flow through an interface, but it's also it's a struct, which is better, but it's still kind of a contract because you're introducing a.
Yeah, no, I see exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So, are we happy with the name MultiString? I feel MultiString will do. Okay, so
If
there is an interesting thing we can do with this too, which we might, in fact. So, just on a matter of performance.
Oh right, the branching would always check. You probably always want to do the string first.
Oh, is this? Hang on, before we go any further.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking they actually fixed this. So that looks like new C#, 6 or 7.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
syntax.
that's a pattern matching. Yeah, C# 7.
That's all right. Well, I don't have that, but you by all means do it
no,
that
no,
way.
no,
No, do it that way because I will do it the old style way. And at some point, I should probably upgrade this project since I actually have 2017 installed. But there's something nice about the old school.
2010 is so clean and this seems to be way faster too.
It's like what you had 7 years and you've made it slower. Good work, Microsoft.
Yeah, we're never getting sponsored by them. That's fine. Yeah, so I guess that are you thinking that string should be the first branch in the thingy bob? Or
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it matters.
there's a fun one too here. We
Oh,
can
that's
switch it.
funky.
Yeah. So we could just do string s and then return s x. Yeah, that's I like that one.
I'm sorely tempted to update. I may in fact do that because like for this, that syntax is just so much nicer than what I'm about to do. Anyway,
default. I don't really actually. Would you just explode or would you like? In the case of a switch, I guess we'd want to just throw.
actually, I think it's better just to.
Not really sure.
Well, the idea is that you would never get into a situation where.
Yeah, it's not one of those two things. Well, I mean, certainly the developer is free to destroy it because it's an object.
Well, that's only because it's a public object. Fix it.
Fixed. Although now we have to construct it, don't we?
Yes, and of course, the fact of the matter is it could be null. But that's going to throw a null exception anyway. So, what would we do any different?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. In this case, I would pattern match on null and just double throw it. That's cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're just we're in control of this thing anyway. It's an internal object, so it doesn't actually even really matter that it was private or public because it's. Well, anyway.
Yes. So that's the nice thing. It's like all of these, I don't know, rules about writing nice code really only apply at API boundaries, if at all.
Well,
And it's like, well, you're in my world now. This is my executable, and I can write all kinds of nonsense code. Probably don't want to make it public for now. So
nonsense code. Hey, wait a minute. Do you want me to change this? I can change it.
no, it's fine. I was just like, it's just strikes me as sort of wasteful to be like, not supported exception, null reference exception, whereas like this does the same thing.
Yeah, I'll write it your way. I'm at some point when you do upgrade, it'd be interesting to see what this if this is just pure sugar or whether like if we decompile it. And
Oh yeah,
find
that
out
actually that would be very interesting. I'd be fascinated
because
to know.
yeah, because there's all kinds of new tricks like that, but like how expensive are they? What are we paying for? Would be interesting.
Does the compiler make you insert null and default? I mean, it implicitly has
No,
a
no.
default, I guess.
Yeah, it's just if I didn't do this, I'd have to fall through to something.
Yeah, that return. Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
throw something yourself. So, yeah. I understand.
But yeah, for another day, we should really get into the new stuff and find out if it's worth using or not. Because maybe it's not. I certainly like a lot of it. Like I really do. I think it's actually, I think it's like a really natural next step, but it could be trash. Okay, cool. Sorry, that was a divergence. Okay, so we have multi-string, and I think .NET Framework or ASP.NET has a similar thing. They have a struct for something called string values, and it's like for representing either one or more than one string. Because query strings often have, and headers and web often have like comma separated values, so they kind of want to have one value that represents both.
Right. So, we've got this multi-string thing now. So we can go through and do a bit of simplification. And I know this is sort of completely off track of doing the thing, but it needed to happen at some point.
Part of the work, yeah.
So one thing we can do is we can move this all the way out to the API boundary and be like, well, from now on, we only care about our own API. So we only care about multi-strings within our API. So we now have protected abstract void label text, and then we can just do this. These are no longer abstract or even virtual. They just do a and then that just reduces our code complexity substantially. One more bracket would be great. There we go. And it's not completely free, but
yeah, you have to allocate though.
I mean, this is the same size as the thing, so you probably will find that this is very close to free. This is, of course, not completely free either, because every time you're having to do a type check, which is not exactly cheap, but it's still pretty good. Like if I were doing this in a loop, I may in fact branch out again, but that's easy to do. Like write the loop for both String and StringBuilder, for example. But that's probably getting to the point where I would profile it.
I'm getting a pre-complaint about multi-string here, saying that it's not as accessible as
I made mine public because I'm like, oh, this is public.
Okay.
This is gonna win.
So now we're back to. I guess we made that private, so now that's a worthy thing. Okay. Cool. So this is kind of a coding.
So yeah, we just then fix up this interface. We'll have one of these.
Not as fast as you, sorry.
That's all right. If we were feeling really, really keen, we could write the implicit and implicit type conversions.
Yeah, that's cool. I was thinking about that for the public API, whether we'd need to do that.
But then again, it's like nice to know where the things happen, rather than just being like, oh, it happens behind your back.
Right. What is cannot convert expression type void to bool? Oh, yeah. Copy paste errors everywhere.
Although actually this would not work with implicit stuff because the overload would complain. Now that I think about it.
Come on.
Why is this one complaining? Because it's no multi-string overload. So I think now is the right time to do that because that does that. Now, while you finish that up, I'm going to open something up.
I'm just having the worst time. Right, I just wait. Oh, I keep doing something dumb. There it is. Okay.
I should probably do this on my screen.
Copying and pasting is worth it, and then I find out it's not.
Where's StringBuilder? System text. SharpLab.
Spider. Min max ref value. Just forgetting.
SharpLab.
Firing all cylinders today by any means. Oh. Alright, so that's that. Now I have a bunch of interface, or yeah. Suffix.
That'll do. I don't trust the JIT result of this thing at all. So, are you up to where I am?
Nope.
No?
Far from it.
Oh, well, hang on. You actually are up to where I am because I'm not that far.
Oh.
So I was.
Okay, good.
I was just punching that same code into SharpLab, and let's bring SharpLab itself over here. Would you behave yourself, window? Okay, so I just wanted to have a look at what is the overhead of this thing. So we've got this constructor. So we're creating this struct multi-string. We're constructing it from a string or from a string builder, and as you can see, it's like load argument 0, load argument 1, set field, return. So basically, it's loading the address of the multi-string, and it's loading the parameter text, and then it's setting the parameter text onto the text field of the multi-string, which we passed in here, and then it's just returning. So that does some stuff. And hopefully you'd think that the compiler would sort of inline this thing. So that's actually one thing that we might look at doing. And then we have here, say, this is our indexer, so you can see it's like having to do a whole lot of work that, otherwise would just be this call vert out to get characters.
Right.
Which, we're doing a cast class and stuff, so that's not that bad. Is inst. So we'll see what that converts to and when we JIT it in a moment. But that's fine. So over here, here's our label call. So that's what we really wanted to look at. And it's like, all right, what does this little shim look like? That new object call vert. So it doesn't really tell us much. It's just like, here's some extra garbage in there. Because this is not virtual, the compiler is going to be very happy to inline that for us at the call sites, and it's going to be very happy to inline this constructor, hopefully. And if we JIT this, we get a rough idea of what's going on. So obviously this hasn't been inlined, and I'm very curious as to where this call leads. That's confusing me as to why this is there. I don't know why there's a random call in the middle of a constructor. So that might be, I don't know, some sort of like framework thing. So that's more of a let's run it in the actual compiler and in the debugger and stop it. So coming over here to UI label. So is there anything interesting here? Yeah, so I am of the opinion that this JIT, despite being release mode, is not at all optimized. And I think that's a bug in SharpLab. So I don't think that's actually useful information for us. But I thought it was worth having a look at. So we might, knowing now that it's useless information, we may actually, when we're done here, go and run this through the debugger and pause it in the disassembly and see what actually happens. But for now, let's go in and just do all the conversion. So you may already be way ahead of me here.
I don't think so. I just did label. I just basically deleted overrides that don't make sense. And
yeah. Oh, well, I got rid of the current string too. So yeah. All right. So this one, item.
got rid of.
So if I do that onto multi-string, I get one very obvious problem, and that is internal get ID now needs to take a multi-string. But that's very easy. Remember hash 3. Now we could take a multi-string, but if you recall, like at some point, like I was saying, you want to split it back out because it's like you want the performance of having different versions. Like I don't want to be constantly calling the more heavy indexer when this function is constantly indexing.
Of course, yeah.
So rather than trying to write a multi-string version of murmur hash, I'm just going to do this thing. It's like if text dot, and now we've reached the problem. It's like, oh look, private's really annoying. Let's get rid of it. Done. Text dot text is string. Turn internal get ID text dot text as string, and I probably want to do that differently. I can see why this pattern matching thing is good when you're doing a lot of this kind of garbage. Else turn so we know, for example, that by going is cast is slower than as, but I don't care at the moment.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then going is as is slower still. So the speed, from what I remember, I could be wrong actually. I think I'm right. It's been a little while. But cast is the fastest, then is then as, but is plus cast is then the next slowest. And then is plus as is the next slowest. So that's sort of the order of speed.
Yep.
And you'd hope the compiler would do this for you, but as far as I know, it does not. The new ones might.
Okay.
So coming back down here, that means now most of these will just go away.
I don't know why it's saying cannot change. Oh, now this becomes protected. Yeah, so just remove one, paste over the string, and make it protected.
Oh, you got protected over. Oh, that's right. I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's what you did. I could make it public, but I think you originally
I've
chose.
stopped making them protected because I wasn't paying attention. Just
Fine.
bang them to protected as well. Easy peasy. We'll just go. We'll do that cutout first. So multi-string.
Keep thinking of multipass from
multipass.
There you go.
She knows it's a multipass. And so
And
this
do
is
it again.
this has reached the point where it's annoying. So I'm just going to go and just add a property. It's like, all right, like this is not particularly fast code or anything. Public.
Oh, I'm not where you are. I didn't see that you had to do that more than once.
I just sort of like I just want to be like text dot is string.
Oh, I'm not there yet. I think that's the problem.
String.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. I just didn't see it. Yeah. Right. Okay.
I don't super love doing it that way, but I feel like that's like the really annoying thing is I know that Sprite Builder just goes and does the other thing, like it does the same multi-string thing internally.
That's yeah, that's annoying. Maybe we should have could we have used FNAs?
I don't know how FNA does it. It might do. Actually, no. I think it duplicates code.
I guess that's the more. I guess he wasn't willing to trade off those few extra instructions.
Probably. I'm not sure I love what I just coded, but I'm going to keep it for now. Like, how is that different to text.text as string builder? Like, hardly makes a difference. But seeing as I've done it, I'm going to keep it. That means we can get rid of that one. And then draw item is private. Draw item is going to be, so draw item is going to be a little bit different because there's two different versions, so they're materially different. So this code here starts to get a little bit ugly. But it'll do. It will do. But on the plus side, all of these suddenly become very simple. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Think about how that works. So I'm not super loving that this construction here. So I would say don't go and do what I just did to my draw item. Keep your draw item as is, because I'm thinking that we actually do want two versions of draw item. So I need to bring mine back to where it was.
Can you show me your slider code? The slider method?
This one?
I just... Oh, you just haven't got there yet. Well, my concern is that the working buffer is appending multi-string, and that's just gonna go to the object overload of the working buffer.
Yeah, so you're quite right. So this is what we want to fix. We need a append
extension method. Yeah.
Now I'm just wondering if this has extend object. If we write an extension method, that will be the overload that it chooses, correct?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. That makes sense. So that's what I'm going to do. So I just wrote a draw item that takes multi-string, but I'm going to get rid of that because we don't really want that. I think you've put your multi-string in a different scope to me. Or something else has changed.
Oh, yeah, I'll move it up there. That makes more sense. I'll just finish it and
Yep.
put it over there. That's like keeping it close to the...
Yes.
Internal static... oh, just forgot that static.
Okay, so hopefully that is going to call the right thing. If we hover over these little suckers down here, yeah, I don't know.
Mine isn't being called. The fancy thing. The fancy thing is saying, or it's maybe an error, but the fancy thing is saying that this isn't being used. The append. Hold on a sec.
So I could just call it append ms. See, I have a feeling that if an overload exists, like on the object, that skips extension methods.
Yeah. Oh, so I was wrong. Yeah. So I guess the precedence is to keep
which is weird. So I'm just going to leave it for now, but then I'll go through and make that change in a moment. I'm just trying to work out the best way to do draw item, because I don't really want to be wrapping it in a multi-string and then unwrapping it and then wrapping it again and so on.
Maybe we need to overload for that too.
ba- 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 Although I think, yeah, we need a version of draw item.
That takes a yeah.
Yeah, so we have not exactly, like at the interface layer here, this adds all kinds of fun complexity, but we've reached the point where we're adding new code that, you know, we'd have to duplicate every single method. So sort of like we may as well bite the bullet and introduce that complexity to reduce it elsewhere.
Oh, interesting. I just went directly to the I just used the string extension to append multi-string here rather than do another branch.
Ah, no, no.
Worse?
So you've made a mistake here, and that is
Yeah.
because the other version of draw item, and if that's the last thing in your, no, it's not. You've still got it in your undo buffer. See, this version of draw item does one thing, whereas the string builder version does another thing. If you recall our bug from last time, we had to
Yeah.
detect whether we
Oh,
were
of
working
course. Yeah. Mine won't do that because this multi-string isn't gonna handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
So I would just do what I've just done here, which is just
Yeah.
have three
Forward
versions
it.
and call it a day. And then I accidentally went and deleted the string only version, so I have to bring that back. Um,
Okay, so
um, yeah, I don't super love what's going on here. I really like what's going on here. This is great. This is much better. This is a bit of a mess. And then obviously what's happening here, we've got a bit of an overloading issue. I mean, it's going to work. It's just going to call this and then call into the virtual function again, which I suppose is what it will do anyway. So it's probably fine. So I think we'll just leave that as is for now, and it'll do the right thing. Is there anything else we need to update? If, like, I mean, does yours build? Append cannot be
Yep.
members of a static class. Is this the problem we
You
have?
just, yeah, just throw static on that. Mine builds.
Extension method top level static class is a nested class. All right, we can fix that. We can in fact move this all out to. Let's make a new file.
Oh. Yay!
Uh,
I feel like it's my birthday. I'm getting a new file.
it's a very rare thing to occur. I'm going to call this public, just in case anyone's using multi-string. They probably want this extension method, but I'm
Yep. Did the same thing.
this time, but
Oh.
I'm willing to bet that
I see.
it never gets called. It never gets called.
Well,
So,
mine does just because they renamed it.
but that's fine. We can go through and fix all of that very carefully, so we're not calling the object version.
There's only 2 places that use it.
Only 2 places that use it. And
Yep. Because the draw item has its real versions already, so
okay.
the
Oh yeah, that's
and
right,
now that
because yeah, we got rid of.
and now that yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Check.
I'll take your word for it.
Well, checkbox and slider are the 2 places.
Yeah, I feel like update doesn't really do that, and that's about it. So let's run this sucker and see if we've got it still working. Yeah, it still works. Can do that. We can add some items here and so on. So we've made a bit of a code modification that's going to save us a lot of time down the road. There was one last thing that I wanted to do now that we have that, and I'm trying to think of what it was.
We were trying to make to hoist a current index, I think, into the UI system somewhere. Or we're going to do that maybe later.
Well, we're pretty much out of time, but I do want to. There's one thing that I did want to do, and that is run this in release build. Build. I can't remember how I've got this set up, but I'm going to start without debugging, just because that saves a thing, and then I'm going to attach to the process. Debug attached process.
Oh right, yeah, this is cool. I want to see that.
And I'm just bringing this over here, so I'm not broadcasting what all my processes are. But suffice to say, I'm selecting use interface.exe. If I was, you're not going to let me debug it, or am I?
Oh,
no,
well,
I am in the debugger. Okay.
Well, you're built in. Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's built in release mode, but that you don't care because you don't want to step through. You just want.
I want. Yeah, exactly. I want it in release mode, so it's the fact that it's whinging. See, I don't think I've done this since I reinstalled my system, so I think
you haven't turned off all the nags.
Yeah, I haven't set it up to do this quite well, but in theory, if I do this, no symbols have been loaded, so it doesn't have symbols. Why does it?
Well, you can turn off optimization, but you don't want to.
Yeah, no, I want it to be optimized. So, I mean, I'll just break into it. Show disassembly. Where's my... All right, well, that's fine. That's fine. That's...
There was a checkbox for always show disassembly, blah, blah, blah. But maybe you can do that first thing next time if you want.
Yeah, I won't spend very long on this because I know you have to go. General.
Okay.
Show disassembly source not available.
That's the one.
Enable just my code. Do I want that?
Yeah, for managed you do. Yeah.
Break all processes when one process breaks. Sessions cross after managed. There's an option in here that I need to check. Here we go. Suppress JIT optimization on module load. So turn that off. So turning that off turns optimization on. Warn if no symbols on launch. We'll worry about that later. Okay, I'm just going to call out the thing, and I'm going to stick a breakpoint on all of those, and then run it in release build, and in theory this will be an optimized build. Okay, so it's not building with debug information, that's fine. We will attempt to fix that very quickly. Build advanced.
You gonna ship the PDB? It says PDB only.
Debug info 4. Let's just try that. See if it does what we want. So I'm going to go away and figure out why this is not working.
Just says this for suppress this message, disable the warn if no user code on launch debugger option.
I mean, that's going to get rid of the warning.
Not the problem. Yeah.
Like,
it says it was built with. I think it's okay because it's just telling you that it was built with optimizations.
Yeah, but it's not letting me insert my breakpoints. It's like I want optimizations and
breakpoints. Yeah.
Like I want symbols. I don't know why it doesn't load. It doesn't have symbols built for it. So there will be a process of yeah.
I'm curious about it, so it'll be cool if we want to kick off that on Monday.
Like if I go over here, I'm like, please load this. It's right there. I don't know why you haven't loaded the PDB. I mean,
lame.
This one is obviously slightly bigger, but yeah, I'll figure out why that's not loading. Unless, yeah, no, that's just, yeah, okay. I don't know off the top of my head, and I know you have to go. So I think we'll call it a day, and we will come back and do a little bit of that business next time, and then get on to the exciting business of building the mouse system. All right, see you, YouTube.